How's it going, guys, and welcome to my top 10 best horror movies of 2013. In this video, I will share to you my personal opinion on what were the best horror movies that came out this year. Not movies in general, but horror movies. Just for you guys, I'll probably post a top 10 best movies in general of 2013 list down below in the description. So if you're curious to see what that is, then go ahead and check that out. But as of this is my top 10 best horror movies of 2013. Also, guys, this is my personal list and my personal opinions on what the best horror movies this year were. All of us had different opinions, so of course we're not going to completely agree with each other. This is just me, my opinions. So please, guys, don't be commenting on my video like, this movie sucks, why would you put that on here? Dislike, unsubscribe. It's my opinion. Also, me being a human being, I did not get to catch every horror movie that came out this year. In fact, I will list down all the movies that I missed. These movies include Antiviral, Jugface, Magic, Simon Killer, Escape from Tomorrow, Sightseers, Haunter, Dark Touch, Contracted, No One Lives, Evidence, the new Carrie remake, Toad Road, Hansel and Gretel Get Baked, Axe Giant, The Wrath of Paul Bunyan, Dead Before Dawn, Beneath, Stalled, Almost Human, The Battery, Barbarian Sound Studio, The Demented, A Haunting at Silver Falls, Odd Thomas, Mr. Jones, Byzantium, Cheap Thrills, Eddie the Sleepwalking Cannibal, The Profane Exhibit, I Spit on Your Grave 2, Inbred, Apartment 1303, The Midnight Game, Sanitarium, In Fear, Open Grave, Home Sweet Home, and Casadaga. Those are the list of movies that I missed this year, so don't expect any of those on there because I didn't see them. But alright, here we go. I'm going to start off with honorable mentions before we do anything, so let me just get this through real quick. At number 15, I have a movie called Alice Kills. Alice Kills is it's an independent film, and it really surprised me. Like, I just randomly rented this at the Redbox, not knowing what to watch, and I was surprised. It was actually a really good film. So, Alice Kills is my number 15 choice. Number 14 would be a movie called Dead Sushi. I do have the Blu-ray. It's a movie about killer sushis. That's all you need to know. Like, it's pretty hilarious. But at number 13, I have Dark Skies. This is the alien film that came out in February. Now, people either did not like this movie at all, or they just didn't care for it. However, I found myself enjoying this film a lot. It's a new alien film. Usually we don't get alien films like these, so I mean, it's nice to have something. Of course, it's gonna have its cliches, but I don't know. I enjoyed it, so I put that as number 13, and at number 12, I have American Mary. I thought this would be up higher on my list, but unfortunately, it's only in my honorable mentions at number 12. But this is a very good film. I got to see an early premiere of this film at a convention, and I was really surprised, and I really liked it. So American Mary is number 12. I stutter a lot. I apologize. And number 11 is Bad Milo. Bad Milo is the film about a demon that literally comes out of some guy's butt and just starts killing people. And then before the guy wakes up, he crawls back into his butt. And sooner or later, the guy finds out that he has a demon living up in his butt who's killing people. And he has to bond with it somehow. And it's pretty stupid. It's stupid. It's funny. It's bloody. And all at the same time, in a very odd way, kind of heartwarming. So that's why it's number 11 at my list. But it's movies like that where you can't take them seriously, You have to kind of walk in there open-minded, You can't, go oh, I'm not gonna like this movie, because you're not gonna like it, but just don't take those movies too seriously, and then you'll end up liking them like I did. But that's why, that movie is number 11 on my list, and that is all for my honorable mentions, and now I'm going to shut up and tell you guys my top 10 best horror movies of 2013, so here we go! Number 10 on my list is a film that you probably haven't heard of. It's a film called Hate Crime, and the director, James Colin Brissac, I actually got to meet him personally, and he autographed me my DVD copy of the film, and I was really surprised by this movie. It's one of those found footage movies, but it's also a home invasion movie. It is one of the most disturbing films I've seen all year, and I am saying that as a compliment. So, very good job, very well made, really surprised me, and that is why it's number 10 on my list. So, alright, number 9. This movie is called Frankenstein's Army. I do have the Blu-ray. It's one of those movies where when I very first watched it, I was like, alright, I'm gonna watch a horror movie. But then, the movie starts and I'm like, oh, wow, it's a found footage movie. So yeah, it's one of those found footage point of view kind of movies where it's like the shaky camera and all that. That kind of ruined it for me a little bit. But yeah, this movie would have been a lot better without the whole shaky cam thing and the found footage whole, thing. And but I mean, the movie, it's one of the most creative movies I've seen this year. One of the coolest looking monsters I've seen in a movie. Like, definitely some very creative ideas here. Like, you just have to watch the movie to see like all the crazy designs and the monsters and stuff in it. It's also a very bloody film, so definitely check out Frankenstein's Army. I would highly suggest it. And number 9. Next up is a movie that you may have heard of, may have not, I don't know, but it's a movie called Would You Rather. Now, not a lot of people like this movie at all. In fact, a lot of people seem to hate it. However, I caught myself enjoying this film quite a lot. It's not the best horror movie in the world, but it's definitely a very good one, I think. And it's just a movie about these people sitting at a dinner table, and they have to play a game of Would You Rather, and you can tell where it's going from there. But some of the stuff they do in here, and they torture each other and stuff. So I mean, it's not the greatest idea in the world, but it's still I enjoyed it. I don't know, I kind of liked it, so that's why it's number 8 on my list. Alright, number 7. Now, this is probably going to be the most arguable movie on my list, so just bear with me here. It's the ABCs of Death. Now, this is definitely one of the most controversial movies of the year, and it's, you're either going to love it or hate it. There really is no in-between, and a lot of people seem to have hate this movie, and personally, I kind of liked it. I don't know, it's one of those, it's an anthology film, and I just love the whole idea and concept of it. Basically, they just gathered 26 directors, gave them about $5,000 and said, here, make a short film, and then they gave each director a certain letter of the alphabet, and they had to make a segment involving death with involving that letter. So I hope I made sense there. Anyways, yeah, it's the ABCs of Death. You kind of get the point of the movie, but there are some hits and misses in this film. There are some really bad ones in here. There's some segments in here that just kind of leave you going, what the hell did I just watch? But then there's also some very good segments in here. And D for Dogfight, for example, I thought was very good. And it's one of those movies that you either love or hate, again, but personally, I enjoyed it, and it's definitely not the best horror movie of the year, obviously, and but that's why it's number 7 on my list. Alright, now number 6 on my list, I could have sworn that this was going to be higher up on my list, but unfortunately, there were 5 other movies that came out this year that I thought were better than this film, and it's Hatchet 3. Now, some of you are like, what? Hatchet 3? And, if you know me, I am a huge Adam Green fan. I've personally met him. He's a very nice guy, and I love his films. The Hatchet films are one of my favorite horror movie franchises. That's just me saying that. I just love them because I kind of grew up with them. And, I just love the Hatchet films. So, I could not wait for Hatchet 3 to come out this year, and I finally saw it, and I bought it. And I wasn't disappointed. It was bloody, it was gory. It's definitely not the best of the series, but it's still pretty damn cool. Victor Crowley's as badass as ever, so... But yeah, guys, give Hatchet 3 a chance if you haven't seen it yet. Also, check out the first 2 if you haven't seen those. And, yeah, Hatchet 3, number 6. Number 5 on my list has to be Maniac, the remake starring Elijah Wood. This movie really surprised me. Elijah Wood gives a great performance in this one. The whole movie is kind of filmed like the serial killer who is Elijah Wood. It goes like from his point of view, so you're seeing through a serial killer's eyes and what he does. And but not only that, but like the movie is very kind of disturbing and very graphic and gory. Like I can't really explain it. It's a movie that you kind of have to see for yourself to believe, but. It's one of those movies where it's kind of hard to watch, yet you can't really look away because you really want to see what happens next, and it's very suspenseful. Again, I loved how they did like the serial killer point of view. I really like that aspect of the film, but Elijah Wood, again, he gives a great performance, so Maniac is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year, and that is why it is on number 5 on my list. Alright guys, we're down to the top 4 horror movies of 2013 in my opinion, and I gotta tell you, I was having a hard time, like, getting these 4 movies together. Like, I didn't know which spots to put them in, but this number 4 on my list actually at one point was number 2, but I put it back to number 4 because I thought the next 3 films were just a tiny bit better than this one, but it was at one point number 2, and that is VHS 2. Now, if you know me, I am not a big fan of sequels whatsoever. I was looking forward to this film, but I didn't think it was going to be as good as the first one. However, I kind of found it to be a little bit better than the first one. That is, if you ask me. It's my opinion, but I mean, I kind of liked it a lot more than the first one. It is a found footage horror film, if you don't know what it is, and it has, I think it has like 4 or 5 segments in it. Either way, they're all very good. They're all from the directors of The Raid, Hobo with the Shotgun, You're Next, and The Blair Witch Project. So those are some very talented directors, and they all did a little segment in this film. And by the way, there's a segment in here called Safe Haven, I think it is. One of the most messed up stuff I've ever seen, yet one of the most well-made, awesome stuff I've ever seen as well. That segment just needs to be a movie alone. Like, it can't just be a segment. It has to be a movie by itself. But I'm gonna stop right there. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but VHS 2 is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year. So that is why it is on number 4 on my list.
You haven't even seen VHS 2.
Okay, you need to shut up. Alright guys, we're now down to the top 3 best horror movies of 2013. And at my number 3 spot, I'm sure this is going to be no surprise to any of you guys, it's The Conjuring. This is James Wan's film, his newest one, and now The Conjuring and Insidious Chapter 2 came out in the same year, obviously, and you know, a lot of people are debating which one's better out of The Conjuring and Insidious Chapter 2. As you can tell, I picked The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring a lot more than Insidious Chapter 2. Insidious Chapter 2, I was kind of disappointed in that one. I think it was because my hopes were a little bit too high for it. I was almost about to put Insidious Chapter 2 in my honorable mentions. However, I liked Alice Kills just a little bit more than Insidious Chapter 2. In fact, I loved the first Insidious. The very first Insidious is, in my opinion, one of James Wan's best films, probably his best. It's just as good, if not better, than The Conjuring, again, my opinion. But, I mean, you know, The Conjuring, it's still very good. It's one of the most original horror movies I've seen in a long time. I love the whole, you know, it's supposed to take place in the 70s, and it really does feel like you're in the 70s while watching this film. But yeah, The Conjuring is one of the only movies that came out this year that is actually legitimately scary. Like, it is pretty scary. I was pretty surprised while watching it and how good it was. So, yeah, that's why The Conjuring is number 3 on my list. Alright guys, we're down to the top 2 best horror movies of 2013. And on my number 2 spots, I have, this is probably going to be the most controversial pick on my list because a lot of people did not seem to like this movie whatsoever. However, me being a fan of the original, I loved it, and that's Evil Dead. Alright, this is the remake. Oh, and I almost forgot. Yep, I have a shirt of it. Yeah, I was gonna wear this while recording, and right when I was about to record, I was like, wait a minute. And then, yeah, so that's why I just randomly put a flannel on before I recorded, but, okay, so, yeah, Evil Dead is the second best horror movie that came out all year, in my opinion. Now, like I said, a lot of people did not seem to like this movie. I mean, of course, the original is a lot better than this. The original is a lot better. I love the original Evil Dead. It is one of my favorite horror films of all time. But, the remake, I was actually pretty surprised. It was pretty good. I don't know why people don't like it. They just, people didn't find it scary. It's not really supposed to be scary, you know, and Evil Dead is mostly known for its blood and gore, so, and it had a lot of blood and gore in here, so it definitely did not disappoint with the blood and gore, the amount of blood and gore in this film. So, yeah, this movie was ridiculously bloody. I mean, like, it just felt really original to me, like, kind of like the original Evil Dead, but yeah, Evil Dead is definitely one of the best horror movies of the year, and that is why it is number 2 on my list. Alright guys, here we go. This is my number 1 pick for the best horror movie that came out this year, 2013. Here we go. My number 1 pick is the one and only You're Next. Now, some of you are like, wait, what? What movie? What? And a lot of you are like, oh yeah, that movie. It sucked. No, I'm just kidding. The movie actually did pretty good in theaters, but yeah, Your Next is my favorite horror movie that came out all year. Let me explain why. Some of you may think it was good, but not that good. Let me explain why it is my number one favorite horror movie. 2 years, 2011 is the year where I waited for this movie to come out. I've waited 2 years for this movie to come out. I very first heard about it, I'm like, this sounds awesome. A home invasion movie, people wearing masks, and they even said it had like a little bit of a horror comedy twist to it, and like an awesome protagonist, so I'm like, I gotta see this movie. It sounds incredible. So, at 2011, I want to see this movie. It's only premiering at festivals, so I'm like, okay, when's the movie gonna come out in theaters? So now 2012 comes along, I'm like, is this gonna be the year where Your Next comes into theaters? And no, it's not. And then 2013 comes along, I'm like, please let this be the year that Your Next comes to theaters. And sure enough, at the beginning of this year, I learned that Your Next was coming into theaters on August 23rd, 2013. Yes, that is right. I know the date it came out in theaters because I was there the first day it came out. I wanted to see it so bad. So I finally saw it, and I'm sitting here, and my life is now complete. And that is why it's my number one pick. Okay, that's not the only reason why it's my number one pick, but this movie's also very smart. It is very smart, some very good acting, and like I said, it is kind of a horror comedy where there's like some funny parts in it. It's not a laugh out loud comedy, you know what I mean? Like, it's a horror movie with some humorous moments, but yeah, I mean, it's packed with it's very entertaining. It's definitely the most entertaining horror movie I've seen all year. It's very entertaining. My eyes were glued to the screen the whole time. It was near perfect. I was a tiny bit disappointed. Maybe that's because my anticipation for this movie was a little bit high. After all, I've been waiting for this movie to come out for 2 years. But yeah, Your Next, it's a great film. I cannot express that enough. And that is why it is number one on my top 10 best horror movies of 2013 list. Alright guys, that is it. That is my video. Thank you so much for watching. Overall, 2013 was a pretty good year for horror movies. Definitely not the best year. Hopefully 2014 would be better. It's not going to be better. I'm still waiting for 2015. That's going to be like an insane year for movies. I'm going to be going to the movies like every week on 2015. However, 2014, all I'm pretty much looking forward to is Godzilla. I mean, that's really the only movie I'm looking forward to. Anyways, alright, and I'm going to end this video by saying thank you guys so much for watching this video. Have a happy New Year's. Don't forget to drink lots of alcohol. Stay up until midnight, or 2. I stay up till 2 years after the New Year, so I can celebrate. And, yeah. Have a happy New Year's, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I don't know. Alright. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Alright guys, that is it. That is my video. Thank you so much for watching. Overall, 2013 was a great year for movies. Yeah. Hello? Yeah. Hello? 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 Hey! They hung up. Okay. Anyways. Can I finish my video in peace, please?